was fire, came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame.
So there's a really weird viral video making the rounds. It appears to show an occult ritual taking place outside of the CERN facility in Geneva. Now, the video was filmed at night. It depicts a mock ritual human sacrifice. Several individuals are in black cloaks, and then they surround a woman who then appears to be stabbed. Now, the European Organization for Nuclear Research has launched an investigation into the video, saying it's most likely a prank gone too far, right? Because these are scientists who apparently on their off time like to engage in mock sacrifice just for funsies. So a CERN spokeswoman said that these scenes were filmed on our premises, but without official permission or knowledge, although indicating that those involved in the spoof did have access badges because CERN IDs are checked systematically at each entry to the CERN site, whether it's day or night.
What the fuck? What the? Fuck! Shit! Fuck! Shit!
But more specifically, his love and deliberate choice of the 11th century Egyptian hieroglyphic for the letter M, a symbol which is used by the infamous American private gentleman's club, the Bohemian Grove, in California, USA. When the conspiracy king, Alex Jones, exposed the club, a storm of stories revealed homosexual happenings between presidents, distinguished businessmen and politicians, with little kids ranging down to 5-year-old children.
It's that the elite, again, the so-called establishment kings, those that know best, the visions of the anointed ones, are obsessed with the occult. From presidents to governors to the heads of industry, obsessed with their astrologers making national policy decisions upon their recommendations. Spiritual guides, shamans in the White House. My friends, it gets far worse than that. You see, for over 120 plus years in Northern California, in Sonoma County, on a 2,700-acre secluded redwood grove, leaders from around the world, prime ministers, chancellors, presidents, governors, again, the heads of industry, banking, academia, the media, Hollywood, travel there to engage in bizarre, ancient Canaanite, Luciferian, Babylon mystery religion ceremonies. And that these stories have been coming out that they worship some 45-foot stone owl god. And then I began to read some of the documentation on this Moloch character of the Old Testament, mentioned many times in Leviticus. That's in the Bible. Why are world leaders traveling to the middle of nowhere to worship this thing? Well, I had to check it out for myself.
Stories of gruesome behavior by men that seem to have all been conspired by the club's bizarre, ceremonial prop show from hell, where members dressed in capes would chant around the giant owl, and in effigy would burn an offering of the little child to the owl.
The owl is in his leafy temple. Let all within the grove be reverent before him. Lift up your head. Gather, ye forest folk, and cast your spell over these mortals. Touch their world-blind. As vanished Babylon and goodly Tyre, so shall they also vanish and walk, rend the stones of Babylon. Bring fire!
When will ye learn that me ye cannot slay?
Then, out came the high priest, who went through all his incantations about the dead, who is dead, at the growth in the past, may their spirits be conjured, and brought back there, by the great owl. He praised the owl for about 20 minutes. So, the priest talked about goodly Tyre and Babylon. Well, there is only one great owl of Babylon. Alex Jones. Relations babies, being offered to giant owls, in human encyclopedias, can be found in the Christian Bible, where Moloch worship was practiced by the Canaanites, Phoenicians, and surrounding cultures in North Africa and the Levant. A god worshipped by the Phoenicians and Canaanites, Moloch had associations with a particular kind of propitiatory child sacrifice by parents.
And in this boys' club, they do this quote-unquote mock sacrifice of a child to this giant stone owl. Sounds weird, right? It makes sense when you understand that the Illuminati are nothing but Satanist pagan types that get together and channel energy to this dark force. So I find it odd that Drake is obsessed with this owl. He has this record label called OVO that's supposed to be an owl with the two eyes and the beak in the middle. All of this stuff has the owl artwork. That last layer I want to talk about is the pagan sacrifice rituals every year that are held. It's called Beltane, or May Day. What it is this time period that starts in mid-April, which is when these temples are supposed to be built in New York City and London, and it culminates May 1st with the actual celebration of Beltane. Now traditionally, what it consisted of was 13 days of blood sacrifices through fire to Moloch, or Baal, or Nimrod, or Saturn, or whatever you want to call this deity. And these pagans used to sacrifice kids in the fires that are now called Baal fires or Baal fires. And historically, there are several tragic events that have happened that included blood sacrifices and fire. And it's all about to do with this valley of Gehenna they talked about in the Bible, where they would take blood sacrifices to Moloch. And this all starts with this pagan sacrifice holiday of Beltane. I don't know about you, but there's so many layers to this. But you can see certain connections constantly. We got Moloch, child sacrifice, Saturn, Kronos, and the hip-hop.
You shall not give any of your children to offer them to Moloch, and so profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. Leviticus 18, verse 21, Christian Bible. Moloch's appearance has been described throughout history as a bull-like deity, and most particularly with the Canaanites, who would craft an idol with a bull's head on a human torso, with holes in the belly. Similar worship of the bull can also be seen when the biblical character Moses was given the 10 commandments by his God. Moses then came down from Mount Sinai and abolished the worship of the golden calf by his fellow Israelites. According to the Bible, Moses' brother, Aaron, made up a god, and it was to be the golden calf, if taken in the context of gods and sorcery. Then, Aaron used magic to conceive the deity, and this knowledge could be explained by his royal Egyptian upbringing, where the worship of bulls is extremely popular. Alternatively, in the Quran, a man named Samiri made the Israelites to believe that the golden calf was the god of Moses. The name Samiri, in relation to Moses, is only seen again in the Baha'i faith, where Samiri is a magician that leads people away from knowledge and justice.
Why wasn't Aaron punished for making the golden calf? When Aaron built the golden calf for the Israelites to worship in Exodus chapter 32, much judgment came upon the people. Yet Aaron went on to serve as high priest. It hardly seems fair that he should escape punishment. He was the one who made the idol, after all, while the others were judged. There are two possible responses. First, one could make a strong case that Aaron was punished for making the golden calf. Though he was not punished at that exact time, he would later die in the wilderness and would never enter the promised land. Aaron also endured the loss of 2 of his adult sons in a judgment from God. Aaron's time after the golden calf incident included many difficulties that could be seen as a punishment. A second response is that God did not punish Aaron concerning the golden calf, because he had already been chosen as high priest of Israel.
In the Baal worship of the ancient Near East, which was a Canaanite fertility cult, once again a calf becomes a picture of their God, who they confuse with Yahweh. The priests of Baal did not begin worshiping this Canaanite Baal. Let me give you a brief lesson in the Hebrew language. The Hebrew word for husband is Baal. Yahweh was to be Israel's true Baal. The true Baal of heaven, Baal Shamayim, was Yahweh. But the priests of Baal, under the influences of Jezebel, who's a picture of the spirit of false religion in Revelation, begin worshiping the true God in an unbiblical way. You begin to worship the true God in an unbiblical way. That's how Baal worship began. They didn't begin worshiping a foreign Baal, they began worshiping the true one, Yahweh. But instead of worshiping him on Mount Zion in Jerusalem, where God ordained, they began worshiping him, rather, in what we call in Hebrew, Beimot, high places.
Could the same golden calf god, Moloch, be the Baal of today? The Bohemian Club Hellraisers from California identified their idol to be of Babylonian roots, referring to history's Babylonian Empire. During Egypt's 18th dynasty, Pharaoh Thutmose III ruled the Babylonian Empire was under the reign of the Pharaohs god, which was Admon. History depicts biblical Moses to be this 18th dynasty's 6th pharaoh, and it is during this time that this calf deity came in the form of Moloch, and even by some Egyptian sects, as Apis bull.
The story begins with the Egyptian pharaoh ordering the deaths of all Hebrew baby boys. The Hebrew mother of baby Moses tries to save him by hiding him in the bulrushes on the Nile River. When baby Moses is found by the princess daughter of the Egyptian pharaoh, the princess decides to raise him as her own son. Moses now has 2 mothers, a royal Egyptian princess mother and a non-royal Hebrew mother who hides her identity as Moses' Hebrew mother, gets a job as a servant at the palace, and helps the princess raise Moses. Why did the Bible omit the historical names of the Pharaoh's princess daughter and the Pharaoh? Their historical identities can be found by comparing the dates and events of the Bible story with factual Egyptian history. All dates followed by the letters BC count backwards to 0, which is the beginning of today's Christian calendar. Bible researchers have calculated the birth of Moses at around 1520 BC. The ruling pharaoh of Egypt at that time was Thutmose I, and his princess daughter was Hatshepsut. Egyptian history verifies that Princess Hatshepsut married her brother named Pharaoh Thutmose II. But when Hatshepsut couldn't produce a male heir to the throne, her brother husband chose a non-royal mistress named Isis to produce a male heir and named their son Thutmose III. Hatshepsut raised the boy as her own son, even though Isis was his real birth mother. The Bible story of Moses closely matches the factual Egyptian story of Thutmose III. Even the names Moses and Thutmose are almost identical. In the Bible story, Moses gives up his big chance to be the richest, most powerful ruler in the ancient world to become a lowly, poverty-stricken Hebrew laborer. But wouldn't becoming ruler of Egypt and Canaan have been the most intelligent way to help his fellow Hebrews? The historical facts show that's exactly what Thutmose III did. Once he grew up to become Pharaoh of Egypt, Thutmose III organized military campaigns with his mighty armies and chariots and defeated the enemies of the Hebrew Hyksos who had settled in Canaan. After his famous battle of Megiddo in Canaan in 1479 BC, Thutmose installed district governors in garrison cities throughout Canaan. Did Thutmose choose his district governors from the 12 Hebrew tribes named in the Bible? Is it just a coincidence that today's Temple of Isis, located on the Isle of Philae in Egypt, has the same name as Thutmose's mother?
We see similar patterns of the abolition of bull worship in the 11th dynasty, where the Egyptian god, Marduk, was replaced by Amun. The god, Marduk, sometimes depicted with a hawk's head, or a man with a bull's head, was described as a solar war god that would manifest as a raging white bull with a black face. The Raging Bulls was the name given among the top generals of the 11th Mentuhotep dynasty. This Egyptian god, Marduk, is represented by the Egyptian hieroglyphic for M, which is, of course, the owl. The names of Egyptian gods have always gone through name changes throughout time, but their abbreviations, meanings and behaviors have always helped observers to point back to their origins, and the names Moloch, Moloch, Marduk, Mentu sound and look very familiar, not to mention their representations by the Egyptian owl and the bull. Could this ancient bull be the source of Drake's success? Apis was also a bull god, which was worshipped for over centuries, when Memphis was capital of Egypt in the Old Kingdom. Apis the bull has similar demands, rewards and attributes as Moloch. Not only is Apis colored white, with a black upside-down triangle on its forehead, this is similar color figuration to Moloch as a bull, but Apis was given offerings for rewards of long harvests. He was a protector of the dead and a war god. Apis worship was around during the 18th dynasty in neighboring cities of Egypt, such as Thebes. This could see Moloch as a variation of Apis taken by Canaanites, perhaps to hide its origin and practiced the worship of the bull deity, as the worship of the Apis bull goes back to the 2nd dynasty, where Apis was such an adored god that bulls were chosen to represent Apis, and once a bull would die, they would mummify the bull in its own sarcophagus and mourn for 70 days. The history of Apis is so profound that it even was described as being born of a virgin cow. The worship of Apis was so prevalent that even after Amun was appointed as the new god in the 11th and 12th dynasty, at some point, the 18th dynasty picked up on the worship again, to where the last known Apis cow burial was found during the 18th dynasty, done by Thutmose I. It was during the 2nd dynasty that the pharaoh Pharaohs was said to have introduced Apis worship, which remained the main god of worship in the capital Memphis for 6 centuries. Pharaohs believed that Apis was the manifestation of the god Ptah, the creation god, that is known to have created itself through thought, and it soon became one of the 5 main gods of Egypt. Ptah origins come from the controversial first pharaoh of the 1st dynasty, Menes, who was said to have made up a new god in honor of his establishment in Egypt, when he built the capital city, Memphis. The god was to be named Ptah, which was to signify self-creation, and creator of all other gods and a great craftsman. This move was said to be political, financial and for religious reasons. Ptah was depicted as an intelligent god that was green-skinned, and was pushed as a god that was superior to all the others. Ptah was known as the great craftsman that created the floor of heaven and the roof of the sky. He was also known as the Lord of Truth. These attributes of a self-creator, self-god, craftsmanship, all-knowing, holder of light and truth, are very similar to the Freemasons' theology and that of the Black Magicians, Lucifer. However, Ptah may not just be a mad pharaoh's conjured-up fantasy, as Ptah worship goes back to Sumerian mythology, dating before Egyptian, where Ptah was known as Ben-K, from the Anunnaki, alien race, a god that created the humankind with the blood of the god King Gu. Humans were to be the servants of the gods, in keeping creation working, and in some myths, made to mine gold. Beginning circa 18,420 BCE, Ptah became the first king of Egypt, and was known as the creator god, a very great god, who came forth in the earliest times. He undertook great works of land reclamation and docking, thus explaining Egypt's nickname, the raised land. Ptah, also known as NK, was a god of heaven and earth and considered to be a great engineer. The name Ptah has no meaning in Egyptian, but in Semitic, it means he who fashioned things by carving and opening up. In Judaism religion, the central texts are derived from the Babylonian Talmud, a collection of historic writings from sages that teaches the hopeful, soon-to-be rabbi, about passing over his children into the fire of Moloch. Mishnah: he who gives of his seed to Moloch incurs no punishment, unless he delivers it to Moloch, and causes it to pass through the fire. If he gave it to Moloch, but did not cause it to pass through the fire, or the reverse, he incurs no penalty, unless he does both. Babylonian Talmud